live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and today, I promise this will be a short video because we are going to save all the NFL content for later in the week. But today, for all my college basketball fans, I have a new updated top 25 I want to reveal. Now, the last time I did a top 25 was back in December after the Players Era Festival and some of the non-conference games in November. Now, a lot changed, and I'm going to explain that more in the video, which is mostly going to be a tier list, and it's going to be like the last time. For those of you that don't know, it was a tier list. Now, everybody across in the top tier is basically 1 through 5, and then the next tier, it's 6 to 12. You get where I'm going with it. So basically, everybody lined up across is the rankings of the top 25. Now, if it's 26, it's probably some kind of glitch because I did like a tier list thing. So don't worry about it too much. If it is, don't worry. It's just a weird glitch within tier maker, tier list. You get the point, okay? So today is mostly a college basketball updated top 25. Now, these are based on my rankings, based on what I've seen, what I factor in for my top 25. It's a lot different than the AP poll list and all these other ones that people have. But I went different because I like being different with my top 25. And I trust these teams more in March than I do some of the other ones. Now, again, I say in the clip too, for those that are like in the second tier below the top tier, doesn't mean they can't move up between now and Selection Sunday. But I figured today this would be a good time for March Madness. And without further ado, let's get right into the updated Rich Saile men's college basketball top 25 list.
And we are back with another top 25 tier list edition for men's college basketball. Now, it's been a while since I've done a list. The top 25 is looking a lot different than it was 2 months ago when we last made it. So some teams moved out completely. Some teams that were not in have made a huge stride and are rising and could make some March statements depending on how the final bracket of Selection Sunday pans out. But we have a lot to discuss with the movement. Now, the top 5 national title contenders. I don't think anybody has an issue with the top 5 that I have set. I have Arizona as a clear number 1, undefeated. They have the best wins of any team in the country, and they had a really good week winning at BYU. Hard to say they're not number 1. Michigan, they beat 2 really big teams in the Big Ten with Nebraska at home and in Michigan State on Friday night. Those were really big wins. I think they're the one team at their absolute best that can beat Arizona. And I believe that Michigan is the second best team in the country. You could make an argument they're number 1, but right now it's hard to argue Arizona being undefeated at the moment. UConn at 3. Only losses to Arizona in stores. And they were without 2 of their key guys. So I look at UConn and say, well, now that they're fully healthy, they can play with the best of any of these top 5 teams to win it all. And I don't rule out Dan Hurley figuring out what he needs to do to win a national championship once again. And as long as he's the head coach, as long as they get their guys healthy, they know how to win in March, and at the end of the day, as long as you know how to win in March, you're a national championship contender. I know people are going to argue the weak conference. I don't care. They're winning. Their offense is finding a little bit of better rhythm. I think that UConn will be fine. I have them number 3. Number 4 and 5, this one I know people might have an issue with. I really don't care. I have Houston at 4 because I look at Houston and I know that they lost to Texas Tech in Lubbock, not this past Saturday, the one before that. Duke also lost to Texas Tech in the Garden. Mind you, Duke had a 17-point lead and collapsed, okay? But Houston lost to Tennessee in the Players Era Festival. It's not a bad loss, okay? I would argue that Houston, to me, I trust more with Kelvin Sampson and with their roster than I do with Duke and their supporting cast outside of Cam Boozer. Now, I know what people are going to say to me. Duke's got one loss. They're going to win the ACC. They can be a real one seed, and they're going to be just fine, which is very true. But I don't think they're a better team than Houston in my eyes at this moment. I don't care if Houston has more losses than Duke does right now. I know Kelvin Sampson's team is going to be just fine. They're going to get deep into the Big 12 tournament. Now, their question is going to be, okay, are there freshmen outside of Kingston Flemings going to step up, which we've seen them do in little bits? Isaiah Harwell and Chris Sinak, they're playing better. I think Houston, getting those returnees of Milos Uzan and Emmanuel Sharp, knowing that deep run they've experienced, they're hungry to get back to the national championship game. I think that's going to bode well for Houston. Duke, though, not fully sold with their supporting cast outside of Cam Boozer. They're definitely going to win the ACC. They have a real shot to be a number one seed still. But I look at Duke and I go, they have some questions that need to be answered in March for me to go, okay, they're going to be a team that can challenge UConn, Houston, Michigan, Arizona. Now, it's funny, they play Michigan later this month, so that's going to be a fun game to watch. But Duke, the supporting cast, I have serious questions on them. I don't know if they're going to get it done, and I don't know if they're like right there with the big boys among like everybody's saying. Not there yet. Let's go to the second tier. Gonzaga is 6. I believe in this team still, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Zags fan. I'm saying this because Gonzaga's only loss is to Michigan by 40. They have won every other game since. Their defense is way better. I think, to me, this is the best defensive team they've ever put together under Mark Few. I think as long as Graham Ike and Braden Huff are healthy, this team has a real chance to make a Final Four. Now, it all depends on matchups at the end of the day. I still believe in Mark Few with Ike and Braden Huff healthy. My one worry with them is going to be not the competition they play, their point guard spot. Can they have that point guard question solved for them by the time March rolls around? I'm not sure if they can. I hope they can get it solved. The Zags, though, to me, look, everybody has a really, really bad game. And Michigan happened to be that one time where it just everything went right. This is still a really damn good team, ladies and gentlemen. Illinois, Iowa State. Illinois, 2 big wins for them they got. Purdue and in Nebraska, huge wins for Illinois. Keaton Wagler going to be a top 10 draft pick in the NBA. I think Illinois with a Vicic, they are going to be a problem. Definitely a team that can win 3 games in the tournament. Elite 8 potential, without a doubt, can make the Final Four. They have played so much better since the last time I did this poll back in December. Brad Underwood's got a really good team in Illinois. I like what I'm seeing from the Fighting Illini. They can make the Final Four, but I will say this. They're going to have to get a really couple of nice wins in the Big Ten. Michigan's are going to need to beat. They're playing Michigan State on Saturday. I'm going to be watching it leading up into the Super Bowl. Illinois has a chance to get to that top tier. They can continue to beat some top Big Ten teams. Iowa State, one bad week. Throw it out the window. This team's fine. Love their core of Momcilovic, Jefferson, and I forgot the third guy. Please excuse me. I have brain fog moments. But Iowa State is, Taman Lipsey. That is going to be a tough trio of guys to contain in March. They're really, really good. And I'm going to tell you right now, this team is dangerous. If they find rhythm, they can absolutely make a Final Four. I love what TJ Otzelberger's team was doing 2 months ago. I don't think that one bad week we should judge them so badly on. Everybody has a bad game. Everybody has a bad week. I love this Iowa State team. Do not rule them out for making a Final Four. This team absolutely could still win the Big 12 tournament, just like Houston can. Okay? I think when they play Arizona, we're going to see how good these two teams are. I think we're going to see how good Iowa State is, and I think they're going to be just fine. I love this Iowa State team to make a deep run in the tournament. I'm not ruling out TJ Otzelberger's team Right now, if you want to say they're 7 or 8, I'm not mad at you. 6, I wouldn't even be mad at people saying. I like this group. They just had one bad week. Throw it out the window. That's why I'm saying don't overreact too much to Gonzaga losing by 40 to Michigan. And Illinois' best loss was UConn. So, again, not worried about them either. Okay? Texas Tech is at number 9. Kansas is number 10. Let's talk about these two teams that are meeting tonight. JT Toppin and Christian Anderson for Texas Tech, the best guard big man combo in college basketball. Grant McCaslin's group playing a lot better since we did this poll back in December. This was before the Duke game, by the way. That game flipped their season around up until Saturday where they lost at UCF, which everybody has a game they lose on the road to an unranked opponent. It happens. They're going to be fine. Just, they might not be Elite Eight contender. They might not be Final Four, which a lot of people thought going into the year they would be. They're not there yet, but they're getting better. And that's what you want to see from this group. Throw out that bad game. It happens. Okay? They're going to make the tournament. They're going to be fine. They can make a deep run. Don't rule this team out. But I'm not ruling out Christian Anderson, JT Toppin, Grant McCaslin. That team has the goods to make a deep run in March. I'm not ruling them out. They're my number 9 team in the country. Number 10. This is a really big one. Okay, and I watched them on Saturday. I have Kansas at number 10. Now, this is the team with the biggest upside to me, but it all hinges on one player because I don't know what the problem is over there, but if he's healthy, Darren Peterson can take Kansas to a Final Four. Bill Self is a damn good coach and absolutely knows how to win in March. I don't know if you guys know, Kansas has a better bench than people are saying that it has. Melvin Council, he won that game against NC State single-handedly, and I remember because I watched him shoot like crazy from 3. Okay? Melvin Council is really damn good. Okay? Kansas is deep. They are really, really good. They got a nice win streak rolling right now. If they go into Lubbock and beat Texas Tech, they're going to be rising up the rankings, and we're going to have to start talking about the Big 12, Kansas. Can they win if Darren Peterson plays at least 30 minutes? He doesn't have to play all 40. He's just got to play 30 minutes. Him playing 20 concerns me because they're going to need him for longer than 20 minutes. And this injury story is getting very worrisome for me. And hopefully Bill Self can figure out what the problems are and get him healthy for March. He's a superstar. Nebraska, Michigan State, 11-12. Nebraska's going to be fine. All right? They can shoot the ball really well from the outside. They just, to me, I worry with them from defensively as like, can they defend the elite offenses and do they have somebody that you're like, okay, we have to watch him in the paint? I'm not there with Nebraska. I think they have a lot of guys that can shoot, they can score. I don't think they can match the elite offenses, and I'm a little suspect of their defense, but I do think Nebraska absolutely can win 2 games and get to the Sweet 16. Elite 8, though, Final Four, I think we elevated them way, way too much. But they have some nice wins against Illinois, and they play Michigan tough without some of their big guys. I really think Fred Hoiberg's got a good team. Just don't think that they are, in my opinion at this moment, a Final Four Elite 8 type team. Michigan State, they did not look good against Michigan for majority of the game. They have 3-point shooting issues, which to me is going to bite them in a bad matchup situation. And I just think that, again, Tom Izzo is one of those coaches I will not bet against in March. I'm very suspect of that team outside of Jeremy Fears because to me, they do not have the guys that can shoot the ball outside. And I think defensively they're going to be okay. But something just does not feel right that they're going to be that Elite 8 Final Four team. And again, Izzo, he could put a great stretch together. But I don't know if they can win it all. I'm not there yet with them. I think they're all right, but they're not insane. So that's 11-12 for Nebraska and Michigan State. Let's go to my middle tier. I have Purdue all the way at 13. I think Purdue, when they play their absolute A game, is better than any of the remaining teams left below them. Okay? I think Purdue, Braden Smith is one of the top point guards in the country. Kaufman Wren, I don't know what happened to him since November when we had Purdue in the top 10, but Purdue's got some problems they got to figure out. Fletcher Loyer has really bad, inconsistent games. I don't know what's going on with them at this moment, But I do feel like Purdue, they're falling into the trap of everybody returning and they expect to be really good. Well, that wasn't the case for North Carolina when they won when they were runner-up 4 years ago. It wasn't the case with Gonzaga last year. It wasn't the case with a lot of teams that have returning guys and always underperform. They're in that category, and I think Purdue will get to the second weekend. I think right now, though, they don't look like a team that can make the Elite Eight, Final Four. I think we need to pump the brakes on their expectations. Florida, their front court is loaded. Thomas Howe and Ruben Chenyulu, and forgive me if I'm missing the other name, but Florida's front court, absolutely nice. Now, their backcourt, Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland, I need to see it. I don't think they're Elite Eight, Final Four. They're not going to run it back. They can definitely get to the second weekend, but I have serious questions about Florida being a team that can be just as good as last year. I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. I think they'll be short, but I feel like this group will get to the second weekend. Todd Golden's got a good team. I think they're going to run into a team that just does not match up better with them, and I feel like Florida is going to run into some trouble. Vandy falling in at number 15. Hard team to figure out because they looked really good up until last month where they started to lose to Texas and they lost again, and then they just destroyed Kentucky last Tuesday. They're going to be fine. They might get to the second weekend, but after that, are they going to be a team that you go, national championship contending, Final Four, even Elite Eight? Alabama, backcourt is really nice. LeBaron Philon, Aiden Holloway, really good backcourt, okay? At their best, they can definitely be an Elite Eight Final Four team. We've seen what Nate Oates does when he gets to the tournament. However, if they go cold, they're done. We saw it against Duke. We saw it against San Diego State 2 years ago. When Alabama's ice cold, they're done. And I know Bediako came back from the G League to come back and play for Nate Oates at Alabama. I hate that move, but that's a different subject for another day. I still think Alabama is good. They can definitely get to the Sweet 16. I'm not fully there with them being a team that I'm like, okay, they're going to be a team that's back Elite Eight, Final Four. No way. No way. Louisville. Backcourt's elite. Michael Brown Jr. might be a top 10 pick. Front court, questions. I need to see it to believe it with their front court. To me, they got some issues. I think Pat Kelsey's group, they're making big strides from what Louisville was. They're just not with the big boys. I just saw them get blown out in Cameron Indoor Stadium. They're not ready for the heavyweights, and that's where I think that it becomes TKO. They're going to get blown out. So Louisville, nope, I'm not there with them yet, and I feel like they're in trouble, and their front court's going to get them into some problems, and I think that when I look at Louisville, they'll win a game, maybe two, but after that, their ceiling is not much higher. North Carolina, Caleb Wilson is going to be a top 10 draft pick. They're playing better since the West Coast trip. I'm still thinking something's missing with North Carolina. I'm not fully bought in. I think they have a good chance to prove me wrong when they play Duke, but I'm going, something's just missing with North Carolina. I think the media is hyping them up a little too much. I don't think they're as good as I think that people think they are. I think they're good. Top 20 good, yeah. Top 15, no, not there yet. Tennessee, Nate Ahmet, he is big time. I don't know what's going on with Rick Barnes' group. I've watched them in the Players' Era, and they look pretty solid. But then something happened. And I don't know what's happened to them, but they don't look like the team that they were last time we did the polls. And again, I feel like they definitely could win a game. They could win two, definitely, and get to the Sweet 16. But Rick Barnes' teams, they will always come up short with the Final Four. And I just don't believe this group is a team that will be serious noise in the tournament. I think they're good. They're not good enough, though, in my opinion. The final 7 teams we have left. Now, let me get this out of the way. Miami, Ohio. Definitely deserve to be top 25. They're undefeated. They need to be the big boy school for me to go, okay, they can make a Cinderella run. And I know I'm not blaming the conference. I'm not blaming the competition. I got to see it, though, to believe that they can make a run. And I got to see the path. I'm not there with Miami, Ohio. So let's get them out of the way. Virginia, complete 360 from what Tony Bennett's group used to be. Okay, Ryan Odom is doing a phenomenal job with the turnaround, okay? I think Virginia, to me, can absolutely win a game. 2, depends. I don't know if they're with the big boys. I think they had them with North Carolina. They had the game, and then they blew it. I feel like they're making small steps. I don't know if they're ready to make that giant leap. BYU had a horrible week, and they have not beat a big boy at all this season. Outside of their top 3 scorers in Richie Saunders, AJ DeBonsa, and Rob Wright, who are you going to get serious contribution from? Because that's where I think BYU will run into trouble in the tournament. And I'm not there with BYU all the way. I got BYU behind Virginia because Virginia at least has some wins where I'm like, they are good. And I give Virginia a slight edge over BYU. Now, Clemson, one returning starter, Brad Brownell, is doing a hell of a job coaching this group. I think that Clemson can definitely win a game in the tournament. After that, I don't know if they can. I mean, the fact that he's revamped this team and they are still really good is a credit to him. Now, we're going to see when they play the ACC big boys how they do. I think they might struggle, but if they can pick up some really good wins within the ACC, Clemson can make a rise within the middle tier. Could get to the second weekend, but I think that's as far as they're going to go. St. John's. Patino's got them playing better. We're going to see when they play UConn on Friday. I am not fully bought into this team with the preseason hype of a top 5 to 10 team in the country. They're nowhere near that team at all. Point guard situation, not sold on who they have. I think that Zuby Ejiofor, really good big man. However, everybody else, I need to see it though. And again, St. John's can win a game, maybe 2. They're not winning past the Sweet 16. They got too many offensive problems, and point guard problems will get to them and will catch up to them once they get to the Sweet 16. Arkansas. Darius Acuff, top 5 pick, maybe top 10 easily. Arkansas, something's up with them. I don't know what's wrong with them. Cal, there's no reason they should have lost to his ex-team. Something is off with Arkansas. I don't know what it is, but they have a really high ceiling, but they have a very weird floor that for some reason, I don't know what's wrong with them. And I feel like Calipari can figure this out. He can get them a win in March, maybe 2. I don't know if they're going to get anywhere near the Elite Eight Final Four. I don't think they're there yet, and I think that Calipari, to me, they'll be good. Acuff's big time, but outside of Acuff, do they have that other option that you go, okay, we can put the ball in his hands and let him go to work? Not there yet. Now, St. Louis. This is the Cinderella team for this year. Keep an eye on this team. Josh Hurts, the coach, is going to get a bag thrown at him, whichever job he wants. Cincinnati, Syracuse, Providence, he's going to get a bag thrown at him. He is. Now, this team, I believe, can win a game, but smoking Dayton is not an accident. That is a legitimate win for them, and I think that for them, this is huge. Because now when I look at St. Louis, I look at them and say, they can win a game. They can win 2, depending on if they get a really good matchup. 3 is where I say it might end. But if there's going to be one Cinderella team, this is the team. Josh Hurts got a really good scheme, system. I think that St. Louis is awesome to watch. But they're going to be a team that might lose in the Sweet 16. And I think that, again, fun story, but it ends when they play the big boys. I just think that St. Louis, to me, could be your Cinderella this year in March Madness. But I think once they run into the heavyweights, they're in trouble. But there you have it. Those are my top 25 teams for men's college basketball right now as of February 2nd, 2026.
And there you have it. That is my updated top 25 for men's college basketball. A lot of changes. But again, I watched a lot this past weekend. I got to watch AJ DeBonsa versus Darren Peterson. I got to watch Gonzaga St. Mary's. I got to watch Nebraska, Illinois. I got to watch, I'm trying to remember, Friday for a second. It was, and sorry if I'm drawing a blank, but I did get to watch a lot of teams this weekend. I got to peek at Arkansas, Kentucky a little bit. Tennessee, Auburn briefly a little bit too. But the bottom line is that I got to look at some teams, even in the beginning of the week, Arizona, BYU, I got to watch. So, again, a lot can change between now and Selection Sunday, and then obviously the bracket, we will have a live reaction show that will go out probably that night of Selection Sunday. So we got a little ways to wait, but do not worry. We are going to have another Top 25 in the beginning of March, right before conference tournaments. Trust me, you guys don't want to miss it. For those of you that are college basketball fans like myself, we have more on the way. And especially now with Super Bowl wrapping up on Sunday, we're going to have some more after a little break, but we'll worry about that when I talk about the future schedule next week following Super Bowl 60. On a side note, this is important. I am one to admit mistakes on the show. For those of you that watched Thursday's episode, I gave the wrong day for the NFL honors. I said Saturday the 7th. I was wrong. It's actually Thursday the 5th. My apologies. I messed up. And that's something that, again, I think I fixed on Thursday, but if I did not fix it, I'm sorry. I'm going to be a man of my word. I've said before, like, it goes sometimes on a Saturday before the Super Bowl, but then they've moved it to like a Wednesday or a Thursday. This time it is a Thursday, so I was somewhat in the ballpark of when the honors would be. So, my apologies to our audience. That was my mistake. And again, I'm one to admit mistakes on this show. My bad on the wrong date and time for the honors. So, for the real NFL honors time, it is Thursday, February 5th at 9 p.m. on NBC. You can also catch it on Peacock, where you will get all the awards that I talked about, that I predicted on Thursday, that will be revealed later this week on Thursday. So, that's pretty much it for today's Lounge Time. I told you guys it was going to be short, but we're going to... So, an update on Friday's show. We're going to talk keys to the game. We're going to talk about how we see the Super Bowl playing out. I also have some interesting trends that I have a note of leading into this big game. I have 3 important details / trends you guys are not going to want to miss out, because we're going to talk about Super Bowl pick. I'm going to give you guys my winner. I'm going to give you guys my keys to the game for both teams. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on how I think this game is going to play out. We're also going to go over the Hall of Fame class, my thoughts on that briefly, and the NFL awards. You guys can actually, if you want to have some fun, you can check and see how much of the honors awards I predict correctly. If I actually go perfect, I would be stunned, okay? And by the way, we're going to have some guarantees for the Super Bowl, because what fun is that? Oh, we're going to have some fun. I have some plays and I'm like, you know what? I might give it a chance here, okay? And again, go with what you want for the Super Bowl. Don't go just strictly because you're a fan of me and stuff like that. Go based on what you like. I will share you what I like for my plays, but again, bet responsibly, and your picks, go with what you like. Don't just tail me all the time, okay? Again, my picks are not to be used all the time for gambling purposes, but again, just know, go with what you like if you do plan on betting for the Super Bowl, and bet responsibly. All right, so recap for Friday's episode. Hall of Fame class thoughts, NFL Honors Awards thoughts. We're going to go over keys to the game, how I see the Super Bowl playing out, my prediction and winner, and I'm going to go over trends I like for the Super Bowl that stand out, and I'm going to give you some plays for the Super Bowl that I like as well. So you do not want to miss it. Friday is the day. I promise I will have it up the latest by Friday night. I am not going to stall. And by the way, I'm sorry on Rumble. I posted Thursday's episode earlier today. It should be up now. This one will also go up later today, at worst tomorrow morning. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. So that way you guys can get all the latest content going into Friday's Super Bowl edition episode. You do not want to miss out. We have some content on the way, and we will have some off-season content, so don't miss out. Just because football will be over on Super Bowl Sunday does not mean we will still have some off-season content, so you don't want to miss out. You can also follow me on Rumble. We're looking to build a community over there. Got a couple followers, but I want to grow that community so that way Lounge Time has a new audience that we can grow and continue to grow into 2026. You can also follow me at Lounge Time Pod on X, where if you have a question for the show, Friday's kind of the day to do it. Because Monday, it'll be a recap of the Super Bowl, and then we hit the offseason, where it'll be dry up until March when free agency starts. But that's a long, long ways away. But if you have a question, something you want me to talk about on the show, Friday is the day to tweet me by, because then after that, all we have is Super Bowl recap and thoughts, and Monday I'm not going to do it. So just an FYI for you guys to know. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Lounge Time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you guys on Friday, where I break down Super Bowl 60 and a whole bunch of other things leading up, and I will give my prediction and winner. Until then, I will see you guys on Friday.